This episode of the Political Napalm starts now. It is December 8th, 2023, and yet again, Jeff Philyaw, the failed inventor of the Q cap, the I want to be a reality TV star from Curse of Oak Island and his days doing the Net Talk show out of Dallas in the early days of the net. That Jeff Philyaw, currently known as Jovan Hutton Pulitzer, currently known as commander of God knows what. Well, actually, I do know what. He is the commander of a sad, puppeted army on Facebook, Locals, Twitter, wherever it is that you encounter Jeff. Well, we've busted him again, ladies and gentlemen, and boy howdy is this one just right up Jeff's alley. So, today, as you can see here, this broadcast that I did on Facebook is only 7 hours old at the time of this recording here on December 8th. Jeff is once again stoking trans panic, racial panic, anti-intellectualism, anti-immigrants. He's just doing it all. And honestly, this time, he's really diving deep into the replacement theory that morons like Tucker Carlson promote. So let's dive into what Jeff is doing today. He starts off talking about a real event that happened out in LA. You can see here, Glassell Park crime scene. LA County business owners frustrated at break-ins. You can see that KTLA covered this a day ago, and see this blue Kia, this gate, that is this event over here. So he starts off with a real event, one you can fact check and Google and look up and go, hey, okay, he's actually talking about something real. I can get behind this because I can look this up. I can see that it's on the news, and I'm now invigorated. I'm now animated watching this because I wouldn't want my business to be broken into. And I feel bad for somebody where this happened, where a roving gang of street thugs used a probably stolen car to break down the gate of my construction equipment business and get in there and steal stuff. So here he is
on this Glassell Park Street to get
talking
burglarized
about
by several thieves. So many, it's hard to count.
And see, there's the Kia,
as you watch them
and
file
there it is
into
backing
and
into the
out
gate,
of Bagley's
which is right here. So this is a real event. This is factual, and it is true.
business, Delta Construction,
Delta
and
Construction
Electric.
They smashed into our gate
out
over
in
there.
LA. So we're
smashed
going to
their
skip
gate into
ahead a
here.
little bit.
15 dudes come pouring in.
At 5 a.m. Wednesday morning.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Inside, they took whatever they could carry, including music equipment. Bagley and his brother, former band members, stored inside. You can hear the alarm and spot a guitar.
Stole 6 of our guitars, a bunch of studio mics and stuff like that. Rustled some stuff out, some construction on our construction side. They stole a bunch of tools.
Thousands of dollars worth of valuables, demolished doors and gates. Bagley says the alarm company woke him at 5:03 a.m. when the break-in was still underway, and he managed to get there even before cops. But the suspects were gone.
And I came in ready to rustle them out of there and just be like, you know, I wanted to at least take down a few of them.
His business now boarded up, and Bagley is fed up with the break-ins and elected officials.
I voted for Karen Bass, I voted for Biden, I voted for Gavin Newsom. I'm sick of it. It's like at some point you have to give me a reason to vote for you again. Or just do our jobs, make a living, help our employees make a good living.
There you go.
And move on. But it's really
This is why Jeff is talking about that guy, because this guy with potentially no proof as to his voting record is calling out Democrat leaders in California, and he's using this to, of course, stoke the thought that liberals are bad, Democrats are bad, liberal policies are bad, Democrat policies are bad. So now he's got his audience hooked. He's showing a break-in that you can relate to. He's showing you thousands of dollars being lost a roving band breaking in. You've seen this with some of the stores in like Philadelphia and everything. This is a common news item. So he now has you hooked. You're aggravated. You're animated. You're paying attention.
Difficult to survive.
And then you get a guy who says,
this is why I say people are waking up to what's going on.
watch this.
And this is why I tell you, we're living in fantastic times, even though it looks like we're going to hell in a handbasket. We're living in fantastic times because people of all flavors are now understanding a very simple concept. My vote matters. On the conservative side, you said, damn right, my vote matters. You're not counting it. And on the liberal side, they're saying, shit, I voted for this crap.
No, we're not.
You know what else you voted for? When
No.
you voted for the, well, I'm going to say all lawmakers then. I don't know anybody who's really doing any different. And yes, they all blame Trump for it, but I don't think this is Trump's fault. Watch this. Do you think this is Trump's fault? No.
So we don't know where this is. Okay? There is no context to this. He does not name a city, a location, a street, a country, nothing. This, honestly, to me, doesn't even really look like the States. Now, if you're familiar with big cities in the States, as I'm sure some of you are going to be, like especially New York, you would know that there's a very big anti-homeless push, and they don't like to make sitting areas that could potentially be homeless friendly. These benches look fairly standard and normal. They're fully wide. They are, love seat length, maybe short couch length. A lot of cities promote anti-homeless architecture and anti-homeless sitting areas. They'll usually have that bar that goes right down the middle over here, so that to lie on it, it's extremely uncomfortable. It's very popular in the States. You've probably seen it. That's also part of why I think this is not in the States. Now, you need to pay attention here. Jeff doesn't call out what country this is. He doesn't call out the location because it could be an anywhere United States thing, or an anywhere within the globe thing. This is nothing is particularly distinctive here, so he leaves it out and he doesn't call out where this is. Let's continue.
Immigrants robbing a 90-year-old man.
Okay, who says these people are immigrants? Huh? Because that guy is white and these people seem to be not white, that they're immediately illegal, they're immediately immigrants. Potentially this is an area of the globe where these people are the majority and the white man is a minority. We don't know if this is Brazil. We don't know if this is Mexico or Peru or Argentina. We don't know if this is the States. We don't know if this is a European country. We know nothing other than the fact that the guy going down is white and these people seem to be not white. This is what Jeff does when he lies and embellishes and sets context and provides no real factual context to what you're seeing. Let's continue.
Okay, he was a little gentle, didn't let him fall to the ground, but they took all he had. Is that Trump's fault? No, it's illegal's fault. They wait for him to come by, and in broad daylight, that's what they're doing. And they never catch these folks. They never worry about it.
Hell, that bag in his hand almost looks like it was an alcohol bottle, like a brown bag kind of a deal.
Kind of bitch about Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter.
Here we go.
Here's what I think. I think black guns matter. Yeah, these guys, another country, right, who's been totally overrun.
So he says another country, okay, but he doesn't call out what country this is. Now, my guesstimate on this one is it could be India, because these scooters were very popular in the videos that we saw coming out of India in the early days of COVID, when the police were going around caning people who were still out during lockdowns and quarantines. Go back and look at those videos. They're stacked on scooters, very, very similar to this. Now, he clearly calls this out as another country because it's very easy to tell this does not exist in the States. You don't see this moped culture here. You see it in India, China, Japan, where there tends to be a high degree of population density and overcrowding. You can tell from the cars and the foliage this is not in the States. So he knows people are probably smart enough to catch on for this video that this doesn't take place in the States because it's really obvious. But he's immediately saying run over. So let's continue to listen.
Run. They're going to hop up on their little bike. They're going to go rob this little Muslim woman. And she pulls out a gun and says, get the hell out of here. Folks, that's why black guns matter. I agree. And that's why the real thing they need to fall in order to conquer our country permanently.
This is the beginning of the replacement theory section over here. This is what he's doing. He's telling you that guns need to be taken away. The Second Amendment needs to be violated. So illegals, immigrants, non-white people, by his own structure, can invade the United States, take over the country, and you as a white person will be lost and you will have no way of defending yourself. That is what he's doing here in this sequence. It's Tucker Carlson replacement theory. Let's go ahead and watch a little further because absolutely the best is yet to come on this.
Is they've got to kill our Second Amendment. And that's why that professor that walked in with a handgun, University of Las Vegas, was a George Soros supporter.
Oh, really, Jeff? Oh, really? George Soros supporter, huh? That person that he's referencing there is this guy, Tony Polito, semi-retired university professor. This is his website. You can go there, tonypolito.com, and you can see all of these links. This is what this guy is about. You can go here and make up your own decision. Now, what he's talking about is this section over here where he has links to the quote-unquote greatest minds of the 20th century, and George Soros is listed here, as is Albert Einstein, Frank Lloyd Wright, Kurt Gödel, Stephen Hawking, Nikolai Tesla, Isaac Asimov, Carl Sagan, so on and so forth. So this is relatively apolitical. Just because he links George Soros doesn't mean anything. But let's dive into this a little bit deeper. The UNLV shooter who killed 3 people was a retired professor, a conspiracy theory believer, and an Alex Jones fan who included the Rothschild family among the powerful organizations bent on world domination. And then links a New York Post article. So, okay, what was that, Jeff? You want to say this guy is a raging liberal because he thought George Soros was a intellectual individual, was of a sound mind for the 20th century? You beady-eyed little dude who looks about as beady-eyed as one of my cats over here. Look at the spacing between my cat's eyes and look at the spacing between his. He's trying to go full-on feral for you here, folks. But yeah, so about him being some Democrat, liberal, or whatever, because the guy was into George Soros, he was also a giant Ayn Rand fan, and we know about that. So before we categorize this guy, politically speaking, as left or right, perhaps this one doesn't actually get categorized because Jeff can say he's a Soros fan. I can say he's an Alex Jones fan. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, and that's what an actual intellectual person will tell you. Do your own research and look into the guy and who actually cares what his political leaning is when he did what he did. with his shooting and everything like that at UNLV. Perhaps this guy walks the middle line. He might not be Republican. He might not be Democrat. He might be centrist or some crazy mix of both. This often happens when people get shot. But immediately, Jeff wants to categorize him as a liberal because, he thinks Soros is so cool. Well, maybe I can classify him as a rabid Republican because he's into Alex Jones. Let's continue.
Claimed he was great, wonderful, incredible. But Biden comes out and says, we got to ban assault weapons.
Oh, did he say that? Or did he just simply says he was a great mind and then link to him? How about we get some proof where he thinks George Soros was so great? Where's the proof, Jeff?
It's because Democrats don't possess the ability to think clearly. I agree with it. It's all about social signaling, and it's all about them driving us the way
I seem
they
to
want
be
to drive
thinking
us.
plenty clearly.
And we're
here,
kind of
idiot.
left on our own. Government's not coming to save you. JFK Jr. is fucking dead as a doornail. There's no military coming to save you. We've got to defend ourselves.
So what he just did there was anti-QAnon stuff. Jeff has spoken out about QAnon for some time now, and this goes back to at least when he was up on stage in Dallas during that event where I think like a fire alarm went off in a kitchen or something. I've seen him speak out about it several times. He does that because he considers QAnon to be slop for morons, and he knows that it is a way for non-conservatives to attack the conservative movement because they believe in something as stupid as QAnon, which is basically akin to believing in Santa at 45 years old. He's going after QAnon rhetoric, yet if you look at the people who follow Jeff, he has plenty of Q-addled quidiots in his little fan club over here. One of them, this one poor lady, posts Q stuff all the time, and everybody descends on her. It's like, you've got to stop doing this. Q is not real. None of what he says comes true. Remember, like when the Vatican was going to get raided and kids were going to be saved, and Tom Hanks was pretending to be in another country due to COVID, and he was never coming back to the States because he was a bad person, and now he was going to live outside of the States because Trump was coming for him. And it's all of that stuff is just brain rot. It's diseased brain rot. It shows up as black spots on CT scans and everything if you believe in Q. You just have whole sections of your head that don't function. What he did there was call it out and said, stop believing in the Q stuff. Yet he continues to allow Q people to comment on his videos and never really directly goes after them. And Jeff is in with Michael Flynn, that Putin puppet, Russian propagandist traitor, General Michael Flynn, traitor to the United States. Jeff is in that circle with him. Jeff has done stuff with Lindell before, who is basically a quidiot himself. Jeff has begun to distance himself lately because of all the slop surrounding Lindell. Smart people are going to distance themselves from Lindell at this point. He is so broke, chasing ghosts and whispers of election fraud. He's outright stating to people, I think it was to Lara Trump recently in an interview, where he was like, yeah, I'm broke. I have this bucket over here, this money, that's all gone because I was doing this election stuff, and then there's My Pillow, and it's an employee-owned company, and I'm fighting the lawyers, and the lawyers are charging me too much, so I had to fire them and go for lawyers with like 2/10 of their capability, 1/10 of their capability, and cost and everything. Jeff knows Lindell is going down, and he's beginning to distance himself from Lindell, yet he continues to hawk MyPillow.com Jovan code over here. So yeah, this is what Jeff does. This is his reason for being, is to grift money make all these links where you could buy stuff, use codes for him at MyPillow. He talks against Lindell recently, but still has up a promo code to get savings at mypillow.com. That's crazy. This stuff down here, Rumble, Twitter, Getter, Facebook, Instagram, this is all in service of this stuff up here. That's his point. That's what he does, and that's why he's lying through his teeth, and we're going to get back to that right now.
And unfortunately, people are waking up.
This is the meat, folks. A robber in a store gets pepper sprayed. Now, I want to stop you here because I don't want the suspense. This is not a massaged message over here like Jeff claims the left does and mainstream media does. It's actually what Jeff does. Let's look at this. Highly. This does not look like a typical American convenience store, does it? Doesn't look like a New York City bodega. Doesn't look like a really country store. It just doesn't feel right, does it? The products don't look particularly American. You see this little YI watermark down here? Here's the real kicker, folks. What's this up here? What's this up by these glasses that almost kind of look like Pilsner flights? Pilsner glasses and everything. What is this up here? Alcohol down here. Something back here that maybe looks like taps. Like beer taps or soda taps or something. You see this up here. What is that? It's not English, is it? It's not English characters, is it? No. It's Cyrillic. Because this is Russia. This is a store in Russia, and that's Russian up there with Cyrillic characters. Go ahead and continue watching. So he got pepper sprayed. He's confused. He's like partially blind. The owner comes back out, starts beating him. This customer grabs a chair and attacks the robber with the chair. Which honestly, goddamn, dude, I don't know how he's not knocked out and passed out. Look at this door over here when it opens. It's blurry video, but what you can't see here is that these are beers. This is alcohol in Cyrillic fonts. Russia. By the way, YI? That's these guys. This is a company out of China called Jiaoyu. This is a very, very popular brand in Russia. Now, they do a global business, but YI is extremely well known in Russia because that is one of the closest big markets to China, and this is primarily where this product is hawked. That's what you see the logo over here, Y with the bend and everything. It almost looks like it's a little bit Cyrillic in and of itself. Well, yeah, there it is right there. So we can tell this is a Jiaoyi camera. This is their logo, but they're actually Jiaoyi is how it's pronounced and everything. So this is a Jiaoyi camera, which is a popular product in Russia. You don't see this in the States very much. And now they proceed to beat the hell out of the guy. See this here? This is in English. And they're coughing because of the pepper spray. Now listen.
Illegal. Decided he was going to rob an ice cream shop with a hammer.
And illegal. You heard it, folks. He called that guy an illegal and called it an ice cream shop. Now, as an American, you can sit here and understand what an ice cream shop is. If you are a conservative prone to replacement theory panic, you're going to understand and immediately get keyed off on oh my God, an illegal, these people that are invading my country. Now, how do I know this is in Russia? Because here we go, a video from 2019, folks. 4 years ago, 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 4 years ago edited, 4 years ago. Look at all these comments from 2019 proving that this video is real and it is old. Russian robber gets the hot sauce.
Well-timed application of OC spray can make an armed robber regret his life decisions. Welcome to today's active self-protection lesson. I'm your host, John Correa. Today's video comes to us out of Russia.
See? There you go.
Thanks to MagTech Ammunition for sponsoring
this video. Comes to you out of Russia. And if you look at this section over here, you can see it's brighter. Look at that. Cyrillic font, Russia. And if you now skip ahead a little bit, there's that door, there's the beer, there's the guy.
And in his pocket, you're going to find out why in a minute, as there is a robber with a hammer on the other side of the door you can't see. As he comes near the clerk Peppers.
You don't know that this isn't illegal. This is a guy with a hoodie, gloves, and a mask.
A pretty good one there. Going to get him in the face the second time.
You can't even see his race. He's got two gloves on.
Get to him with that hammer, and you can see the OC is getting to him at that point. So he's really starting to fight that with his other hand and go, oh no, what's going on? And you can see that it has pretty well disoriented him and taken
a white
him out of the fight.
A black
he's
glove.
Trying to use his hands here,
cannot see his face, cannot see the color of his skin. You cannot see anything about this person, but Jeff immediately calls him an illegal. Yeah, this is taking place in Russia, folks. Again, let's go back and listen to what Jovan says when this video ends.
That illegal.
There you go.
Decided he was going to rob an ice cream shop with a hammer. And he ended up getting hammered.
You're not funny.
Now, we have to defend ourselves, but there's part of me that feels this government's doing it to us. Because I think...
What government? The Russian government? Because that's where that was. Russia, you presented one case clearly in the United States, the very first one out in L.A., California. You've now hooked your viewers with a real verifiable event that occurred in the United States that can get people interested. You then proceeded to show somebody God knows where, the old man with the cane, and then people running away from him. Then you showed clearly what seems to be a country in the tropics with the palm trees and the moped, the Muslim garb. You admit that one is not the United States. And then you go into this Russian video from 2019, 4 years ago, and you claim it occurred in the States. And you claim it occurred in an ice cream shop where, to everybody else who looks at it, it seems to be a convenience store. And it's not even in this country, folks.
Whole, outside of lawmaker criminals who are very smart, election criminals are very smart, and even that older fellow that picked up that gun and beat that chair and beat the hell out of him and gave some beautiful justice, breathed in that pepper spray, because in that particular place, people couldn't have guns.
Oh? Explain it to us, beady-eyed Jeff. Go ahead and tell us what place that is. You're not going to tell us because you're going to out yourself as an idiotic liar because it occurred in Russia. What are the gun laws in Russia? Jeff, tell us about gun laws in Russia, because it wasn't the United States and you have no proof as to what the gun laws are because it didn't occur in the States. You're inciting panic. You're doing replacement theory Tucker Carlson bullshit.
Don't you think we should outlaw hammers now? I think,
and there you go.
On general,
that's what
most
he does.
Of these...
This is the crap that he does. This is his acting. that he does. This is his performative outrage where he leans in really close to the microphone and does the beady-eyed stare and says, "Don't you think you should be smarter about this thing and believe me?" You're a mouthpiece of tripe, Jeff. You lie through your teeth constantly. You've been busted lying about the Chick-fil-A stuff. You can see the video on my channel about him lying about the student-on-student fight that occurred in a middle school when he claimed it was a teacher and a student. He promoted anti-intellectualism and racism in that particular one. He was busted talking about the man who was beating up an old guy, a senior citizen, in a senior citizens facility. He lied about a lot of the details there to, again, promote racist sentiment. And this is all just a drop in the bucket of what Jeff does. He does this stuff constantly because he's a mouthpiece to Republican and conservative narratives that get people aggravated, animated, involved, and weaponized for all the wrong reasons. This kind of shtick right here, this schlock, this tripe that he spews is what gets people killed. You want an example of it? Roseanne Boyland. If you haven't heard of Roseanne Boyland before, she got into this kind of crap because she fell for the Wayfair child trafficking scandal. If you don't know what that is when QAnon went on like 4chan and 8chan and all the right-wing boards and said Wayfair is trafficking children because look at this couch, it's too expensive and it has a person's name. It'll say the Cindy Ottoman, the Lisa table, and it was a price of like $1,000, and they were saying like, this is ridiculously expensive, this can't be real, that Lisa isn't a table, it's a child. Ooh, it's a child. It's me doing my Jeff impression. And Roseanne got weaponized. She got animated. She got aggravated. She was a woman who was not in a relationship. She didn't have kids of her own, but she was very kid-oriented. So she was super into the kids in her own local nuclear family. This thought that children could be under attack and could be getting trafficked and manipulated and abused weaponized her and animated her. It aggravated her against people who might do this. And who is it that's spewing this stuff? It's the right wing. Who do they want you to be against? The left wing. So she then fell into the Pizzagate theory, which had occurred, chronologically speaking, beforehand, but she didn't know much about it. So she went backwards and looked up the Pizzagate stuff and was like, that's it. I've got to do something. I've got to do something. So when Trump was telling people he was going to hold that rally on January 6th, Roseanne said to her family, I'm going to J6. Her family said, you should not do this. You need to stop. This is all crazy stuff. You've fallen down a deep hole on the web. Get out. You need to stop. And she looked at them and she said, I need to do this time. I need to see Trump in person. I need to hear him speak. If I don't believe him and I don't see it in his face and I don't see it in his eyes, I'm out. I'm leaving. You guys are right. So she went to J6 and she died there because of the concert crush style of pushing that went on and got smashed up against the windows that people were breaking in, the walls, and the Capitol Police trying to beat people back. And she got bodied, she got crushed, and she died due to her asthma complications and fentanyl was in her system. She would have been alive if it wasn't for shit like this, like what Jeff is doing. People weaponizing the weak-minded against a group, against a certain sect in the United States to believe that they are bad. Trans people are bad. Immigrants are bad. Minorities are bad. People of color are bad. People who have transitioned, like Caitlyn Jenner, are bad, yet Caitlyn Jenner's a maggot. You have Caitlyn Jenner as a ridiculous Trumper, and she's in the community that absolutely hates her guts. And the religious people in that community call trans people like her a demon, yet Caitlyn Jenner is a Republican. Don't fall for this stuff, people. You get weaponized, you get motivated for the wrong reasons, and your life could be in danger if you follow through one of these pathways to its end. If you don't believe me, just go look up the stuff about Roseanne Boyland. I believe it was the Washington Post who did the big article on her and the whole Wayfair trafficking scandal, and how it hurt real people, and real people who were being abusive towards kids. Those poor kids who needed the help were actually going untaken care of because they were busy dealing with all the Wayfair crap. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Jeff Philyaw busted lying through his teeth to keep the sheep in his pen, totally unaware that they're being sent down a chute and being puppeted by puppet master propaganda, just like what Jeff is spewing over here. It's the political napalm signing off.